Demo Donald fast at work trying to tear down all of democracy and take the White House with him. I mean, you've seen the videos, you've seen the photographs, but what does it mean for a future lawsuit? And how can he be stopped? And what about this recent confession by Donald Trump and his administration that he actually needs a permit to tear down the East Wing and put up a ballroom? We cover it all on Legal AF, the podcast. And here's a clip.
The times we're living in are bonkers. I mean, absolute bonkers. You know, today I was telling somebody about the fact that the president of the United States, okay, our president of the United States, when we had this unbelievable protest on Saturday, the No Kings Day, where 7 to 10 million Americans were out and about. I happened to be in a really small town in the Berkshires that day, and even they had at least 100 people out, and cars were driving by and honking, trucks, tractor trailers were driving by and honking and in support. It was an amazing thing. And what was our president doing? Our president posted this horrible AI-generated image of him in an airplane, calling himself a king, wearing a king's crown, and dropping poop all over the protesters. I mean, like, it just makes me cringe. You know, he has no respect for the office of the presidency. You know, the office of the presidency has always been this majestic thing where, you know, anytime the president would walk out, it would have so much pomp and circumstance and ceremony surrounding it. If you go to the White House, it's so inspiring. There's so much history there. You see pictures of just past presidents and portraits of past first ladies and just different dignitaries who have been there and historical events. And it's just, you get this sense of importance and grandeur and just majestic kind of awe, frankly. And you have so much respect for the office of the presidency, even if you don't care for the president, even if you didn't vote for the president. And every president up until now, in my lifetime at least, has respected that. And again, even if you don't like them, they've upheld the dignity of the office. And he is just literally and figuratively tearing it down. Again, that video is so upsetting to me, not because I can't take a joke, not because I'm a snowflake or weak or whatever. I laugh at jokes like anybody, but it's just that the president, it's just so disappointing that that's what he is posting. And it's just gross too, right? It's just disgusting because he's disgusting. And, I was so offended that that's what the office of the president is doing and doing things like that. You know, he's just really torn down the office of the presidency, which, frankly, leads us to what we're talking about right now, which is he's literally tearing down the White House after telling people that that the East Wing is going to remain intact. He said that out loud. It's going to remain intact. We're not going to touch it. They have videos of literally these giant, construction equipment just with claws ripping the facade out and the wires out and they're just taking a wrecking ball. They're not even, I've seen people do renovations, even targeted renovations, that add-ons. You take off pieces, piece by piece. You don't have to do a total wrecking ball. And frankly, there might be historic value to preserving pieces of that White House. What a waste. I bet some people would love to reuse part of the White House if it was going to be taken down. Frankly, it's also not his house. Who said he can do that? Right? He doesn't own it. And it's just crazy to me that he would just take a literal wrecking ball to the entire East Wing of the White House. And he's putting up a 90,000 square foot ballroom. I just can't get over it, but after putting gold in all the rooms, dripping with gold. I mean, he's just really, and then the Rose Garden, making it cement instead of what it's been forever, this beautiful garden. It's no longer a garden. It's like a patio or something. I don't even know what it is. And now what he's doing to the White House, I just can't even believe it.
Yeah, I mean, he's borrowing it and he's acting as if it's his own. And it's a perfect metaphor for what he is doing to the government and American citizens in general. He is demolishing, free speech, healthcare, rights of immigrants, frankly, rights of citizens who speak a different language or with an accent. I mean, he is acting like the United States belongs to him, including the White House. And the only thing, honestly, to give me solace, because that was very painful to watch as well. I mean, it's such a historic building. I still hadn't brought my son there for a visit. And you just are like, oh, like, how is this? Is I think, okay, things have burned down and been destroyed in the past, and they always can recreate them. And the rebuilding the White House, how it was before, I think should be part of rebuilding the country. There is so much we have to clean up, repair, and put back. And frankly, we can tear down the ballroom and we can put back the East Wing how it was. And I think we should. I'm so tired of it being like, well, this happened. We need to accept it and move on. When we get into office, when we get into power, we need to undo so much of what we did. And frankly, I think as a country, we gave too much respect to the office of the president. We had traditions and expectations and culture that the president was going to, act a certain way. And we frankly did not have enough laws to put that office in its place as a equal branch of government. We did a lot after Nixon, but we have to quadruple that, if not more, after Trump. It's no longer a handshake between gentlemen. That's how our founders made it. We saw how that hurts the rest of us. The oligarchs, it still works for them, that handshake among gentlemen. But the rest of us, I don't know if Trump is lawless or is it just our laws are bad. We have so much cleanup we have to do. Some of it is because of how we have treated that office with, frankly, too much deference. And we have to stop it, clean it up, rebuild it. And that includes the White House. That ballroom should be gone and it should go back how it used to be.
Well, I want to know who's paying for it. Is it taxpayer dollars? Or is it donors, or is it rich people? Because I know he had some dinner with a bunch of wealthy donors who claim they're going to pay for it. So now they're buying access to the president. I mean, it's such a dangerous thing that he's doing. He's also trying to build this, Arc de Triomphe, like from France in Washington, and call it the Arc of Trump. Mm-hmm. He's involved in renovating the Kennedy Center. He's apparently doing all kinds of renovations that he's very involved in. I'm wondering who's paying for all this. It's like he brings in Doge saying, waste, fraud, and abuse. Let's save the government money. But yet he's spending a friggin' fortune on his vanity projects. The free airplane from Qatar that's not really free because it's going to cost $1 billion to make it presidential, right? Make sure that there's no hidden listening devices in there. They're going to have to take it completely apart. They have to make it be able to withstand a nuclear explosion. They're going to have to make it so that he can have access to everything, have a full command center inside. It's going to cost $1 billion. It's not free. All of these things he's doing is not free, but yet yet the government is shut down. People aren't getting the benefits that they need, but he's out spending our taxpayer dollars. I want a gold toilet. I want whatever he's doing. It's just unbelievable to me.
And frankly, he's not acting like somebody who's going to leave in 3 years.
I agree with that.
How long is that ballroom going to last? Why do you care that much about the Kennedy Center? And same with the plane. Okay, how long is it going to take them for retrofit it? I haven't heard one word about how much it's going to cost to take all of that off. Because otherwise, his personal plane is going to be one of the most secure planes in the world. I mean, he is acting like he plans on being in power. And we aren't even
says it out loud.
Asking enough questions.
He says it out loud. He gives hats away that says Trump 2028. Yeah. He says it out loud. He's not planning on leaving anytime soon.
He's not planning on leaving. And what are we going to have?
The Constitution does not allow it.
Does not allow it. But here he's going to have a plane. He could be up in the sky. Nobody can even do anything about it. I mean, I wish people would be asking that question more. Are they planning on reversing all of those protections when he goes into private, personal life?
Or give it to the next president? I mean, honestly, right? It's just so offensive to me that, like I said, that Doge is so hypocritical that they claimed they're waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, the biggest place to look for waste, fraud, and abuse is right there in the White House. And the amount of money, taxpayer dollars, that pay for his golf games, that pay for him to have a wrestling match on the White House, that pay for him to do these vanity projects. I mean, that's where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think DOGE was just a way of getting Musk and their friends access to departments and to do their policies without going through the Senate, even though he supposedly had a mandate in the Senate. But they wanted to try to undo a lot of policies by cutting the funds. I think for sure. I mean, we have never seen a president as financially corrupt as Trump, whether, even honestly from his right after he was elected, before the inauguration, his inauguration committee got hundreds of millions of dollars of donations from corporate, CEOs and companies who all wanted to make a deal for when Trump got into office. He has been making money, literally stealing from the American people, because he takes money from these companies and then he gives the companies a pass, and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. We have to win the midterms next year to at least, start slowing this down.
I agree. The thing that just sticks in my craw the most, and maybe it's just because this is the thing. I don't like people who lie.
Yeah.
And it's okay to disagree. I'll talk to anyone who might have a different point of view. We can talk about it. But people who lie, it's the one thing I just can't stand. And that's what just drives me crazy, is there's no consequence to his lying. I mean, and he does it constantly. Literally, he just said in July that the demolition wasn't going to impact the existing structure of the White House in any way, and said it wouldn't even touch it. And then he goes, there's video of this demolition where it's taking a literal wrecking ball to the side of the White House. It's just a bold-faced lie. And he does it every day. And there's no consequence. And that's just what drives me crazy. And that's the reason I do Legal AF, frankly, and the reason I'm here week after week, is because I want to be part of this movement that is trying to bring truth to the American people. Again, if we disagree on issues, fine, but at least let's tell the truth about the issues. Let's at least tell what's going on, and then we can disagree, right? And that's what a democracy is. And then you go to the polls and you vote, and sometimes we win and sometimes the other side wins. But you try to make your case, you try to win over hearts and minds. But to lie and get where you are by lying, and that's just what he's been doing all along. It's just really drives me nuts.
Lying and just common decency, which we have really lost. And that to me is,
the poop plane.
The human to human connection that is like the fabric of any group, organization, foundation, country, his completely tearing that down, it's not just a matter of are we polite to each other, but if we can't even connect with each other on some basic decency, to your point, that video where he was dropping feces on the crowd, you can articulate how much you don't like these No Kings protests, which frankly, I think is demolition of the White House. The very next day was him doing that as well. But the feces thing, it was just the lack of common decency of just human to human. If we lose that, then do you really have a country? Do you really have a democracy? And so I am glad that here on Legal AF and Midas Touch, we do, I think, always try to talk in ways that are frankly just about the issues and not make it personal, because they're really not, because it's not, there's always somebody with that point of view. It's not really about the person.
Of course. I agree.
We sit at the intersection of law and politics so that you don't have to. Every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, you can watch us on YouTube. If you like to get your podcast in an audio version, come over to Apple and Spotify and get it there. With your help, we'll keep our spot as the top law and politics podcast in America. Also, you're on Midas Touch, hit the free subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, hit the free subscribe button. And that'll help us continue to defend ourselves against the attacks of the Trump administration. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popak. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.